All right. Hello, everyone. This is Brandon Sugar, also known as Sugar All Day. I'm an Army veteran turned Twitch variety streamer, and you are tuning in to Annie Talks.
Hello, everybody! We did it! We're on board! Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. All of you guys are here. I'm looking in chat. I'm super, super excited. And welcome to all the new streamers, or not streamers, but viewers and followers. If you're new to the stream, let me just quickly introduce myself before we get right into the introductions of my lovely guest here. But my name is Annie Rivera. I just realized I have this big spotlight right here. But my name is Annie Rivera, and I am a video YouTube content creator. The name of my channel is Annie Talks. I have a podcast. I am also a radio personality for the V93FM.com Sandwich Islands Radio Network. And you'd think that as much as I do this, I wouldn't be nervous, but holy cow. I think it's just, every time I just love all my guests, and I just want to make sure that everything is done perfectionistly, if that's a word. But thank you guys so, so much for being here. Um, as you heard, you've met Sugaroth 8, as we all know him. But let
Yes.
me first tell you a little bit more about him because I've learned so much about him in the last week. I do have to say this though. Why Sugaroth is so near and dear to me is because, first of all, he was the one that told me and urged me and encouraged me to audition for Dare to Duet. I just remember being in his stream one day. I just said, Are you going to audition? Kind of matter of factly. And he said, Yeah, and I really highly encourage you to do so. And I thought, maybe not. So it was his urging that I did audition, and I'm so glad I did because not only did I have that opportunity to audition to be a part of the show, but Sugaroth was my teammate, and it was so nice to have him on the same team. It was just, man, he is just a man of honor, and I just absolutely love him. So I am excited to bring this opportunity for all of you to get to know him. So let me just kind of briefly go over this. Brandon Sugar, as you guys know him, Sugaroth 8, is a chill 33-year-old Jacksonville, or from Jacksonville, Florida. He is a 6-year Army war veteran with deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. He has a Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree from Jacksonville University and his own graphic design business. He's a variety streamer, as you have seen him here. He on music, League of Legends, arts and retro, Twitch sings, and he says he's here to spread love and positivity vibes, and positive vibes rather, in this world. So everybody right now, let's see some hype, let's see some chatter, let's see some emotes. Flash those lovely emotes for my awesome guest, Sugaroth Brandon Sugar. Yay!
Oh, well, thank you very much for that lovely introduction.
Oh my goodness. How can I not have you on this show, first of all? But I do also have to say thank you and thank you and thank you for your service in the
Oh,
Army and in the military. And I think what I was telling you before
mhm.
is that, we'll get into that in just a little bit, but
Okay.
so why don't you fill all of us in on some of the gaps, maybe some things that I didn't say that you maybe would like to be able to just kind of bring out there and let everybody know who Brandon Sugar is and what is your mission in life, so to speak.
Sure, absolutely. Um, So first, I want to say that with the Dare to Duet competition, just to let you all know, I told our lovely host Annie here that I would have been personally offended if she did not enter into the competition, and I'm glad that she did. Like she
Well,
said, it
thank
was a
you.
blast. Oh,
It
you're most
was.
welcome. It was a
It,
blast being on the team with you and just seeing how yourself and Tanepi came together to, make your duets happen. It was super cool. It was
oh,
awesome.
yes. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but there's a whole dynamics that I wanted to actually touch on that as
Okay,
well. So, yeah, for
sounds
sure.
good.
But tell us about who Brandon is. I mean, your
Sure.
upbringing from Jacksonville, Florida, and,
Yeah.
just
So,
give us a
yeah.
snapshot.
So, like I said, I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. Grew up here most of my life. I lived in North Carolina a little bit in my super like I was 2, 3 years old, very briefly, kind of back to Jacksonville. Then I moved a little bit into Florida, so I was down in South Florida. I was in Pompano Beach for a year, Miami for a year, and then eventually I ended up moving to Ohio. From there, I went to did all my high school years in Ohio, joined the military, of course. From there, I like I said, served 6 years. I deployed to Afghanistan, deployed to Iraq, and just really, I guess overall, my spiritual beliefs have helped shape and forge who I am today. And as far as my mission is quite simple. I just want to love on people and I want
Mm,
to believe in people and just encourage them, empower them to be the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, can you share with? I'm going to touch a little bit more about your Army career. I know that
Sure.
you, um, if you could share a little bit more about your career and your tours, how did it affect your life? What was your MOS? My daughter, who was on the 88 Mike 82nd Airborne Division.
Okay.
She
Yes.
was stationed in Fort Bragg. She wanted to make sure that I get that in there, but
Good. Okay.
so it's obviously military is near and dear to our hearts. So
Mm.
I'd love to just kind of hear about your career, and I think everybody else here would agree that we'd all like to know a little bit more about your career.
Sure, I would be more than happy to expound on that a little bit. Also, my military career, I was stationed, and so I went to basic training. Let me start there. I went to basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, which is the home of the infantry, all male basic. Uh, you know, coined the toughest toughest basic in the army, all that good stuff. But went through that. That was an interesting time. It was an interesting time hanging out in the bay of 60 something other guys and having to share a joint shower and all
Oh
of that
no,
stuff. That was an interesting
acquired
experience
taste, huh?
there. Yeah, yes. Exactly. Um from there, so I graduated. I went to Fort Gordon, which is communication. So I was a 25 uniform. So initially, it was a 31 uniform, which is signal. So the tactical equipment, radios, all of that good stuff is those are the kind of things that I worked on between tactical equipment as well as computers. Uh, a lot more on the tactical side than the computer side. But that was my MOS. I was stationed at the 101st Airborne Division in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where I went to air assault school. I really enjoyed that. That was pretty awesome. And then, of course, when I first arrived at Fort Campbell, my unit was already deployed. I was stationed with excuse me, I was stationed at Campbell, and I was assigned to the 551st Military Police Company. And I went to Afghanistan about a month and a half, 2 months after I got to the company. So it was just kind of making sure we were good on our PT tests and our weapons tests, so on and so forth, and then we deployed to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, I had the worst day of my life. That's where
Oh no.
because I'm 70% disabled from the military,
Oh, okay.
and part of that is what is called adjustment disorder. It's What's the best way I can describe it? I guess you can think of it like PTSD light, so to speak. It's like um, you have a lot of the symptoms, but they don't cause as drastic of a change, as PTSD would. But it
Mm-hmm.
still is troubling from a day in and day out perspective. So I went
Sure.
through counseling for all of that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it
No,
was.
I understand. My daughter, just to touch briefly on it. Now, imagine being at work one day, and I get a real quick phone call. I don't
Mhm.
even know if it was a phone call or it was a text, but it was a message to me saying we just got breached, our FOB just got breached, and there was
Mm.
insurgents, and I don't know, and then she just hung up, and I thought, ooh, yeah, and I cried. I'm so
Uh,
emotional as it is, so it was very emotional, and I hadn't heard from her for like another 24 hours before. And then I finally got the call from her saying, what happened. There were 7 insurgents that attacked aerial assault from or at Afghanistan, and she immediately had to kind of go into combat, basically. Yeah, and it was really, really scary to hear that. So I want to say that I am totally 100% indebted to you and your service and all those in the military for putting yourselves on the front line. Even if it's nothing is diminished. Your
mm.
service, no matter how great or how small, is important, and I'm so thankful for you doing that. And all of our freedoms is because of all of you. So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. Honestly, really glad that, really glad to have that opportunity to serve. And for me personally, I'll say this because I had, um, not quite, well, I guess it's just all in the eye of the beholder, not quite as bad of a day
Mm-hmm.
as Afghanistan. And I guess just maybe after you go through it and kind of have those experiences, it's not that you're desensitized per se, but you adjust to the situation a little bit better at least because it's not
Right.
the first time that you went through it.
Right.
So in Iraq and Afghanistan, you dealt with mortar strikes, you dealt with those types of things. You just have to, do what you can in those situations. But it really means a lot to me personally. Like when I see folks like yourself and a lot of folks on Twitch actually doing something with their lives. Because don't get me wrong, did I
Mm-hmm.
serve for the freedoms? Absolutely. But me personally, I do take a stance that I didn't really serve for you to be a bonehead with your freedoms. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like I want,
Touche. Yeah.
when I see people out here doing, using their liberties, so to speak, and their freedoms that in a way that is unsavory to others, it's like I
Mm.
didn't serve so you can do that. Just because it's
Sure.
allowable, right? Doesn't mean that's what you should be doing. So seeing folks like
Absolutely.
you doing
Oh,
things like this and continuing to empower and help uplift others with their story, those are the freedoms that I am very much glad to have served for.
I'm so grateful for things for you and for allowing us to have that freedom to do that. So thank you so much. You don't want me to get emotional, and everybody knows I will get super emotional. So, oh my goodness.
It's okay.
But
We can cry together and console one
for sure. Now, so we can segue away from the military if you'd
Sure.
like. And I
Well,
want to talk, you guys, did you guys know that Brandon is a two time author? Did you know that? Did you know that? I didn't. I just found out today. I'm like, we just
surprise,
almost buried the
surprise.
lead there. Yeah, seriously. He goes, oh, did you know that I also wrote 2 books? He's so humble that just matter of factly just told me about his 2 books today. Okay, hello. Okay. So I'm going to bring up this window real quick so you guys can see it. There's
Yeah,
a
go
couple
for it.
windows that I want you guys to see. So let's talk about, whoops, I'm sorry. Whoops, so
Sure.
sorry, you guys. You're going to see all my lovely stuff in its glory. Um, Hold on. Here we go. So, talk about this book. This is Direction Through Connection.
Yes. So, Direction Through Connection is a book of a collection of poems that I wrote.
Hmm.
And I did this while I was still in therapy and shortly thereafter. A friend of mine writes poetry quite avidly. And
Okay.
initially he came to me and he said, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a book of poems together." I said, "Okay." That's, it wasn't really, like I said, I really never sat down and wrote poetry per se before. Um, but I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll give it a try. And as I was doing it, it became very therapeutic and a way
Mm-hmm.
to express myself through that media, and it was really, really unique. So what I did was I thought about not only things that I dealt with slash were dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
but areas that I wanted to explore and the people that meant a lot to me, because there are some poems that are personal that I've invested and sort of shared my life
I'm sorry.
essentially
I'm trying to pull
through
up this.
poetry.
I'm
Oh no,
still
you're
trying to
good.
pull up this. Did it come through, you guys? I didn't. I couldn't see that.
It,
The
it was yeah, it was there. I saw it.
okay. That's
It
just
was
my
there.
user error over here, you guys.
You're all right. Um,
I'm so sorry. Go
no,
ahead.
you're fine. You're completely fine. And so, like I said, it's really that's what that book is about. It's just sharing myself through poetry. So you're
Mm-hmm.
really getting an insight to some people slash situations that mean a lot to me. And the reason why we didn't release it joint is because he ended up moving. And then he
Mm.
said, you know what, he was like, I'm just going to publish this book because I've been on fire about this. I was like, yeah, do it. No worries whatsoever. And so I was sitting there with this batch of poems that I wrote, and I was like, well, I've done the work. Let's do something with it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just put it out there.
Awesome. And
Just
then
put it
you
out
have
there.
another book. Let's talk
Yes,
about this. Give me just a minute to switch over to that.
you're completely fine.
Um, mm,
Do your
okay.
thing.
All right. So this book. Why don't you tell us about this book? This is the Jacksonville University. Oh
Oh,
wait, is this the right one?
that's a success profile.
Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. Well,
No,
why
you're
don't you talk
good.
about it while I fumble around here?
Sure.
Okay.
So, so as you'll see here in a second, it's sincerity and earnest truth. The entire thing is about exactly that in terms of just one
Oh, there
one
it is.
thing that I always take a look at is your motivation for doing something. And if you do something without being sincere, you're done before you ever started,
Mm,
because everything that you do thereafter is going to be questionable. And that's really why I believe that you want to be sincere, you want to be caring, you want to be truthful and earnest when you are dealing with not only people, dealing with yourself, dealing with others, dealing with your animals, but it all has to come from a genuine motivation
mm,
for the best possible outcome.
right.
And so that was the premise behind writing that book. And it's also sharing a lot of myself, a lot of my life experiences. And I really had a good time. And I would say this to sort of lump the two together is that, so one thing, so a lot of people have trouble with my name. So, some people are like, some people say Suge, some people say Sugar, one person said, I couldn't understand it. He was like, I think it was she actually. One streamer was like, "Is that sugar with the hate?" I was like, "No, like I don't even know why Sugar Wrath. That's the one I get most
Uh
commonly.
huh.
Now that one I understand because the R and the all that is
Right.
so close and
Uh
it's all
huh.
the same. But it's Sugar Roth 8, and what that is, well, my last name is Sugar, of course, as we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the raw part, or the Roth, is actually a great friend of mine, a buddy that I served in the military with. He spoke to me about this concept of being raw, and there was just a few requirements, and one of them was like being a strong warrior for the Lord, like that was paramount. And from there, it's really just holding on and staying true in that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, Sugar Raw Day. So my name and what so when something is raw, It's in its most purest, strongest, and potent form. Now, the eight, it is my favorite number, but it's not just there as an eight, it's there as an infinity symbol. I'm literally telling
Ah.
myself to always be pure and strong
Oh,
in the
wow.
Lord.
That's
That's
amazing.
that's why I chose that as my tag handle, whatever you would like to call it.
Ah, I love it. That was one of the questions I forgot to ask is I always like to know if anybody that comes to my streams always know I'm always asking, what does your name mean? Because I know that, it maybe for some, for me,
Mhm.
a lot goes into the name, right? So you want to always
Right.
make sure your name is representative of you. And I knew it had to be something dynamic with you because I already knew just already the person that you were and the personality and all that. So I'm so glad you shared that with us. I'm appreciative of that.
Well, absolutely. I'm glad to do so.
Yeah. There's a picture that I want everybody to see. Let me just go get it in a minute.
And I
Okay.
see, and very much welcome you all. I see folks saying thank you for service. I certainly appreciate
Yes.
you. It's my pleasure to do so. Good to just glad to have you all here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I from what I can see, I see Spider Monkey, Phileas Cheesesteak, Evie, of course, Ivan, Noodles. Oh my goodness, so many. I've got Guam Nom Nom. You guys are awesome. Run Amok, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. And Jean, I think, is here too. Ace. So I am so appreciative of everybody being here and being a part of this and getting to know and learn more about Sugaroth Brandon sugar. So there is this picture that we found that you sent to me as well, and it's a picture of a shark.
Oh,
And
the
there's some
shark tooth.
significance of this. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So it's not a crazy story, really. It's so my wife, Mama Shug, as I call her affectionately, or as the champions will know her. She is all about taking an adventure, taking a road trip, all of the above. She loves it. It is her thing. And
Right.
so she had this idea. Oh wait, oh I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the wrong picture. I see
Okay.
the one you have now. This is the actual shark.
Oh, what? Wait. So
This is the
there's
actual
a there's an actual shark and there's a fake shark? No,
shark. No, no,
I'm
no.
just kidding.
There's a shark tooth. I don't remember.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'll go get that. There, I did see that on your Instagram. So
Okay.
go keep talking, and I'll go
Okay.
grab that picture.
All right, sounds good. And then we can come to go to the shark
Yeah,
right
yeah,
after.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So on that, with that note, so my wife wanted to. She saw this thing about
It's
this famous beach or
a
this beach that is well known for finding shark's tooth,
okay.
and so she went researched the best times to go, all of this good stuff. So we went at low tide. The first time we went out there, it's called Mickler's Beach,
Okay.
Mickler. Um, and the first time we went, I was uber tired. I was like, I really
What's
didn't even
Uber
want to
time?
go. I was ready to just pass out and all that. But I said, you know what? No, I need to go ahead and go. I need to spend some time with my wife. So it was myself, my wife, my mother-in-law, my wife, and myself, or and I. There you go. We went to the beach. I simply laid in the water, just relaxed. They looked for shark's tooth for the better part of an hour and a half, I think. Didn't quite pan out. So got back home, and there was another night, and it was kind of the same deal. Like I wasn't the most motivated to go just because I was tired, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna go. We get out there, and in less than 5 minutes, I was like, hey, I think I found one for real. And my wife, so I gotta say this real quick. My lovely wife, she is competitive as it is, and ultra competitive when it comes to me. Like we could be playing a group game. If she's beating me, then she's okay. Like as long as she scores higher than me in the game, then it's okay. She wants to win, but she's got to beat me specifically. Oh, and so all right, whatever. So when I
So she
went,
wanted to be the first to find the shark tooth. Is that
she
it?
look, either the first or more or something like in some way. But
Uh-huh.
when I found that shark's tooth, she was happy and jealous all in the same time. She was like, "I'm so happy for you. You found the shark's tooth. That's great." And then I was like, okay, I'll take it." And then she was like, "Now why can't I find?" I was like, "There it is, there it is." Yeah, I knew this was going to work its way around to
Oh my
something
goodness, that
about
is
those.
so funny.
But yeah, so that what you were displaying
Mm.
there was the shark's tooth that I found. It was pretty cool. The first one I found, I think I found one or two. I feel
Mm.
like I found at least. I know I found the one there, and I
Right.
think that was it. But she actually ended up finding one as well. Her
Oh,
first
well, there you
time
go.
finding a shark's tooth. So
Okay.
both of our first times, but that time we went with our daughter and son-in-law.
Awesome. So
So
now the photo that we're going to show right now, this shark,
yes,
the real shark. Tell
yeah,
us about
the
this.
shark. Okay, so that shark is actually my wife and I. So for her birthday, she had been talking about she wanted to go on a cruise. She
Mm.
had never been on a cruise. I had never been on a cruise either. So I did some work and figured out, got some extra projects in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to pay for the cruise. So we could both go on the cruise. It was our first cruise together, her birthday. And that shark right there is actually in an aquarium.
Mm.
And we went to the Bahamas.
Ooh,
Yes, we went to the Bahamas.
how nice.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I enjoyed it. I think Atlantis, I think it's the name of the, because there's
Mm-hmm.
like a casino and all of that stuff there too. And this is when you got off the cruise ship. Um, and to go and make that visit. So we did
Right.
that. It was really, really cool. So that was one of the animal, one of the sharks there in the aquarium, but super beautiful. Highly recommend if anybody wants to take a cruise to Bahamas. It's nice.
Ah, that's very nice.
Hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, of course.
So let's get back to let's get over to Twitch now. So
Yeah.
how the forum, the platform, how we were able to meet and connect, and with all these beautiful people who are on in the stream right now. Thank you guys all so much for being here. So what kind of games do you play? Do you have a favorite? Do you have and why do you play them? Besides Twitch
Sure.
things, and we'll talk about that too.
Okay, cool. So from the video game side, I have always loved video games. Like
Hmm.
from my so just being youthful, my mom played them. And once I think the first game that I played ever was Mario on the NES.
Me too.
Ooh,
Well, no,
all
no.
great.
Okay, I lied. Even further back, I was, when Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and all
Got
that.
it.
So, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But on Twitch, I don't think I've
On
ever played a game yet.
Gotcha. Okay, so on stream, as far as retro is concerned, I play pretty much all Super Nintendo games.
Mm.
I play an array. I play Super R Type, Donkey Kong Country, what else? Kirby, Sunset
Hmm.
Riders, Contra,
Very cool.
Gradius, whole slew of them.
And then,
My
hmm
favorite to play
hmm
on stream, I would have to give it to Donkey Kong Country 3. But my favorite SNES game, period, is Metroid. I love Zelda, Legend of Link to the Past as a close second for
hmm
SNES, but Super Metroid, love it. I love that game. That game is awesome.
so cool. You guys, let's see some hype in chat there about some of these games that he's playing. Anybody else play them?
Yeah.
Um, Here is the question of the day, and
Okay.
because every time we come into your stream, everybody knows, right? Whenever you go into Sugaroth's stream,
Hmm.
you're always going to see him dapper, right? And he's dubbed the well dressed. What is it? The
That's
best
true. Yeah.
dresser
Hmm.
on Twitch. And to what do you owe that? I guess I don't want to say behavior, but to what do you owe that attention to detail?
Sure. Um, so that attention to detail, it started, the seed with that started a very long time ago. So I have to tell you a minor story two minor ones, and then they can get to the to why that is the way I am today. So super while ago, let's see, I probably was about, I don't know, 9 or 10, somewhere in there, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
A pro football player by the name of Deion Sanders, who was like one of the best cornerbacks of all time.
Right.
He had his own television show. It was like it was like among the early, reality TV shows. And in that, there was this contest where he had to take his kids. They were selling something, candy, cookies, or something like that. I don't know. The first thing he went and did was he was like, "Hey, before y'all go and knock on any door, we got to get y'all sharp. You got to look right. I'm not taking y'all out and y'all gonna be looking raggedy. No, it's not happening." And the young boy was like, "Why, Dad? Why is that?" And he said, "Cause look, son, when you look good, you feel good.
Feel good. That's right.
When you feel good, you play good. When you play good, they pay good." And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what, man, I like that. I like that. I'm running with that, and I never forgot that. Also, growing up, my dad and like all my family, really, my dad, my mom, they always taught me to do and be the best that I can be. So that
Mm-hmm.
also played into it. And so here's the second minor story. When I was, let's see, I was in the sixth grade, seventh grade. Yeah, seventh grade. So I was 12, 11, somewhere in there. I'm always a year younger because I didn't go to, or I started school early. So
Mm-hmm.
anyhow, we were sitting outside and there was this moth and it was hitting itself against the door. Like it was trying to get out, but the door was opened enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up and I was like, Dad, why doesn't that moth just fly out, around? There's plenty of space.
Right.
And he said, Son, that's a great question. Do you know why he'll never do that? And I was like, No, Dad, I don't. And he was like, Son, that's because he never changes the way that he thinks. If he would just stop for a moment and take a look, he would realize that he can get out and get free. There's plenty of space for him to do that. So I knew from between those two, I was like, you know what? I never want to get locked so deep in to something that I won't stop for a moment to see if there's a better way.
Wow.
So those two combined into how I am today, and when I say best dressed, I'm not placing myself on the pedestal above everyone else. That's not what that means.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying when I say that is that I am my best dressed
Mm-hmm.
when I am doing what I'm doing.
Of course.
And I highly encourage anybody else to join me. Like I love seeing other folks looking sharp. And I'm not saying you have to be necessarily suit and tie all the time, but it helps. It just helps. Like I said, I feel good. Because the last thing I'm worried about, right, is my appearance. Like I don't have to
Right.
worry about how I look because I've dressed my best.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just focus now on providing good quality content, just being my authentic self on stream because I don't have to worry about is there a stain here or is there a rip or
Right.
whatever in my whatever? Like, hey, no, I'm nice and clean. I'm shaved up. This is all right. I'm good to go. I'm
Right.
good to go.
I love those. I love the analogy, the story about the
Hmm.
butterfly. I think that's so, what, moth or
Hmm. Yep.
butterfly or
You
whatever that
got it.
was. But that's so clever. And when you think about it, right? Yeah, you don't change your way of thinking. You keep doing the same thing and not thinking out of the box, so to speak. So that's awesome. I really, really love that. Now, in your stream, okay, we're going to
Yes.
stick on this. In
Okay.
your
Yeah.
stream, we always hear you call and refer to people as champions.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to know the story behind that.
Sure. So that actually comes from a Facebook group that I started and co-founded. I
Mm-hmm.
co-founded and started a Facebook group with a young man who I call my son, not biologically, but um, we started this group, and the idea, Inspirational Punch, is simply a growing community of positive encouragement, like point blank and simple. Um, and so I wanted a way. I was like, how can I address that greater audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I want them to hear and see themselves as a victor, not a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And champions was the word that came. Like I had a few other ones like guardians or something like that. Like I had a few, but I was like, you know what? It's a little that's a semi passive. There's nothing wrong with a guardian, but I was like that's semi passive and kind of the fact that they stand and they more react than proact.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a champion is, it's seen as going forward. You did something to get there, to arrive at a victory. So I call everybody a champion. So that way, I want them to see themselves as just that, as someone who is a conqueror, who's moving forward, who's making things happen,
Love that.
and to tell them that positively reinforce them and let them know that I absolutely love them and that that's what you are. You're not
Awesome.
anything less than a champion.
Ah, yay! I'm a
Yeah.
champion. I
Yes, you are
love that.
champion. Champion
Ah, that's
Annie.
so awesome. Um, let's step back. I do want to talk a little bit. I want to have this opportunity for you to talk a little bit about your business, which is
Okay,
Sugar
yeah.
Unlimited. So let me just throw this up real quick. It's somewhere here. Part of the I promise you guys everything I was in order earlier. This is his business. Let's talk about your business.
Sure. So Sugar Unlimited. I started Sugar Unlimited when I was actually still in college.
Okay.
So I was in a multi-level marketing for a while, and it was wonderful. Like I had no qualms about it. It really helped to grow me and
Mm-hmm.
push me towards what I wanted to do. And when the time came for me to start my own, but it really just put me in a mindset of business ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I knew I wanted to take advantage of what I served for, right? And I just felt like, man, business ownership is awesome, and it is truly a way to get out of the rat race, for lack of a better word. Now there's
Right.
nothing wrong with working a job or anything like that, but the reality of truth is if you're an employee always, it's super tough to do that, primarily
Yeah.
because it's
Mm.
always time for money. And you can look. There's Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad
Yes.
and Cash Flow
Uh-huh.
Quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
That's also so that's one of the books that I read, and were introduced to, I should say, and got the concept from. And I was like, you know what, man, that business ownership seems like the quadrant to be in. I am going to head to there and partake in that. uh, but yeah, so Sugar Unlimited. Overall, I use my graphic design knowledge and expertise as a way to help people build the brand that they love.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you look at just the nature of graphic design, is that I'm using the art medium of art or the avenue of art to help express and convey something to
Mm-hmm.
people. And
Right.
it also helps keep me connected with working with people also, which I love. So it's dual fold for me where I can use my art to help strengthen bonds and send messages, as well as connect with people and help them grow and really understand how important it is for their visual representation to move forward. Because when I'm asleep, my website's still up, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm asleep, my Twitch, my stream, right, still has some sort of a representation of me. And it can work for me 24/7. I don't know if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're browsing for graphic designers in the
Yeah.
Jacksonville area or
So
whatever.
true.
You can always go there. You can always see it. So if that's the representation that you have, you want to make sure that that puppy is right. Uh,
That's right.
because long story short, if your branding looks bad, you look bad.
Very true. Oh my
You know.
goodness. That's actually one of my staples in my own business is being
Mhm.
able to make sure there's brand recognition all across their platforms. So I 100% agree with you. Now, do you have a specialty in any one type of graphic designing compared to another?
Sure. I would say my specialty is mostly in print design. So
Okay.
posters, flyers, those are where
Mm-hmm.
my hallmarks are in terms of making sure that stuff looks good and that you convey the right message.
Right.
So on and so forth. That would be my specialty particularly. But I'm certainly not limited to those. So I do, of course, I do logos, I do emotes.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, you do emotes. He does
yep,
emotes, everybody.
yep, logos,
Hit him up.
emotes, standing banners, business cards. I've done
Awesome.
awards,
Mm-hmm.
you name it. Just about anything. Not everything per se. So I'm not necessarily a fashion designer, right? Like that's a whole different ball of worms because you're dealing with fabrics and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But most of your just about anything that your standard graphic design company can
Sure.
do, my company can do as well. So like I saw you
Awesome.
showing a few of these. So like, and I do illustrations as you saw or as you showcased.
Right.
So like I saw you showcase the baby. I did that
Yeah.
for
Let's go back to that.
a fellow, one of my church brethren, and then
Mm-hmm.
you also showed Barbaholic, which is a streamer on Twitch, and that was a illustration that I did of her, the one with the
Okay.
yep, right there.
Very cool.
Yep, that young lady right there. So I did the illustration of her, and then I think you also showed the Samus as
Yeah.
well
Mm-hmm.
from Metroid. So I illustrated that. That was for a charity stream that we did, or that I was a part of. It was pretty cool. It was a retro block party.
Mm.
It was really neat.
Very cool.
But that in a nutshell is really my business. Like I said, I started freelance in college, and
Mm-hmm.
I started that early because I knew that when I graduated, I already wanted to have experience under my belt working with real folks who trusted me with their actual income to do a solid job.
Actual income.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I'm thinking ahead and saying, you know what? Hey, there's nothing wrong with being a new business and commanding a decent dollar. But if you don't have anything to show for it, or you can't really point to, here's what I've done for someone,
Mm-hmm.
then you tend to take a little more like discounted jobs and discounted rates. And there's nothing wrong with doing that in business. I
Mm-hmm.
think that should be more of your choice and not because you feel like you have to prove yourself.
Sure.
So, no, you didn't. So once I graduated, you weren't really going to catch me and I had to prove myself phase. I already did that for a couple of years. And then I officially incorporated in 2017. And so I'm an S Corp. So you can look me up like on, sunbiz.org, which is Florida's,
Mm-hmm.
registry, all that good stuff. So I'm officially incorporated. Um, all
Very
of that
cool.
good stuff. Thus far, I'm loving it. And I also do some time-based art as well.
Awesome.
So I like video editing. It's pretty neat.
Ooh, we
It's
need to
not my
talk.
specialty per se, but I can do it.
I need an editor.
Oh, okay. Well,
Actually, I
we can
do.
talk.
So yeah, we'll talk. Hey,
All
look
right.
at this. We just made a connection there, guys. Um, we got a couple more minutes, but I want to
Yeah, go
touch
for
a
it.
little bit on our Dare to Duet. We spoke very briefly about it earlier, but again, had it not been for Sugaroth for telling me, encouraging me, kind of nudging me to audition, I would not have auditioned. And I would not have met my lovely partner, Tenepe.
Yes.
But, and then to have a captain that we did, we were both on the same team. We're on Team
Mhm.
Bad Wabbits. But let me just tell you, you guys, how calm and collected this man was. I was backstage panicking. Okay. I was having mic issues. I was having bad mic issues. I was sweating, right? Remember, I was
Yes.
sweating. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know what to do this. I was like on the verge of tears. And this man, calm down, Annie, calm down. And all you could hear was this on his computer. He was just typing away. And he was taking care of stuff. Between him, Tenepe, and Bad Wabbit, and I
Body
don't know
G.
some and Body D, yeah. Everybody was troubleshooting my microphone. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. So anyway, your experience, it was your second time, right? With
Yes.
that time. So tell us
Yep.
about your experiences with them.
Sure. So the first time that I did the Dare to Do It, so I was in the second competition. Um, I was
Ooh.
actually doing singing from this microphone right here on the headset.
Okay.
And I'm all happy about streaming anyway. When I first started streaming, let me tell you, I was streaming IRL from my phone and I use an overhead speaker. It's right up here. You can't see it, but I use my overhead speaker to play music. I had my laptop to pull up to play the music. Yeah, to play the music, and for me to look at the words. And then I went IRL and I would respond to the chat on my laptop. I'd pull the stream up as well.
That's so funny.
That's how, and with that scuffed goodness of a setup, I still hit affiliate in a week.
Ooh, that's so nice.
It
Wait, and how long have you been streaming?
let's see, we'll be 6 months in like
Wait, you did all
8 days
this
or something like that.
6 months
Or
ago.
4 days, I'm sorry.
That whole setup 6 months ago with the phone and all that.
Hmm.
No.
Yeah, we hit affiliate in a week. And I was on the phone for, oh goodness, probably, I want to say like 2 or 3 months at least, somewhere in there, maybe
Mm-hmm.
like two and a half. Then a friend of mine by the name of Nublik Pixel helped me um, to get some settings in my laptop where I could just stream retro. I was like, it was just good enough to stream retro, but I had to close everything else. I could only have the stream and like my email just so I could see notifications. I didn't even have I didn't even have the Streamlabs window up. Like I had no notifications for anything other than just the basic little and that was it. And then about 2 months ago, I finally got a nice solid PC, got the webcam. Rooney showed me who I was in that competition with, the second one for Dare to Do It. Got me this mic right here. Yeah,
No.
he built that for me. It was so
Yeah. That's
cool.
so nice.
He texted me. He was like, text me through PM me on Discord, and it was like, no, you need to have a mic. This man needs a mic. I was like, well, that's so cool of him that he did that. But Dare to Do It. It was
Oh.
so fun. The first time
Yes.
around, I got Golden Buzzard by Sarah Fani.
Hey,
Um,
nice.
and it was myself, Crystal Snapdragon, Raging Pianist, and Merturial were all on the same team. Merturial and I were partnered up, and Snappy, who I Crystal Snapdragon, which I call Snappy, who I'm also on the Sing Squad with, um, and Raging Pianist, though they actually won the competition, and it was so
Oh.
close. I think we were like it was only like 3 or 4 votes from moving
Oh.
on. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always been super close,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool. And then the second time around, of course, the one that we all were in, it was like I think okay. So I think the way that I remember it, it was tied, and then it was the first one to go over, and that other team was the
Oh.
first one to go over and break the tie. So it was literally like within one or two slash like it was tied, and then but it was so close. It was crazy,
Okay.
but I've
I
had a
have
great time. Go for it,
I,
please.
I have I have a story to share
Oh
with all of you guys.
yeah, go ahead. I know what's coming. I think.
Wait, and did you send me a picture of your wife?
I think so. Either of her or of both of us together.
Okay, I think you did. Okay, so this story, I have to share it with you guys because it was. Remember, let me just tell you guys how stressed I was backstage. It was a fun event, but I think the reason why we were so late in going over in time was because of my mic issues. I'm trying to find this picture. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, so let me tell you this. Well, okay, you guys
Yeah.
will look
So
at the
that's
picture
Mama
and then
Sugar right
hear my story. Okay, I
there.
was backstage. I was dying because my microphone was killing me. I had to record Bohemian Rhapsody twice. Right,
Mm-hmm.
the first time my microphone was completely clipping. Tell us your lovely wife's name again.
Sure. So I call Mama Sugar. Her name is
Mm.
Melissa.
Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. So, you guys, I'm backstage. I'm dying with this microphone. I was in backstage, sequestered, basically trying very very hard to get the second time record the same duet a second time. Bad Rabbit came in and goes, "We have some time. You can go back in there and record right now." I was panicking. I'm going, I guess he wants me to record. So I'm like, okay, I'll go record. So because I was backstage recording again, I completely missed voting. I could not vote. I could not vote. I couldn't vote for my own teammate. And that was the difference that could have pushed him to the next level. Freaking teammate could not vote because I was having my debacle backstage. and then what did Sugarov say to me? Tell everybody what you said to me, what your wife said.
Yeah. Okay. So Champion, so you heard all of what Eddie just said. So I wore Body G and we did I'll Make a Man Out of You, and we had this idea to do like this for, because he's in the, what was it, Navy.
Ooh, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. So he's in the Navy. He's also anyway. He's in the Navy, and like I said, I was in the Army, and I got out. I got out in 2009, and he's in currently. So we had this idea to kind of do like this old Army, veteran, all this good stuff versus the new recruit kind of thing. And I still have my Class A's, which I fit in just fine.
Mhm.
But the thing is, when you wear your Class A's, it is a privilege afforded to you. And when you wear them, you are, according to the regulations, supposed to wear them just as if you were in still. So, which means I had the facial hair. Now, I could have left the mustache or whatever, but I was just like, no, I'm just going to get rid of all of it. My wife, I called her first. I was like, hey, look, here's what I want to do, but here's what what I got to do it. She was not happy. She said, you better win or something. And when I told her that Annie was not able to vote, she was so upset. She was like, "Oh no!" She was like, nope." She just refused to accept. Let me tell you, champions, I did not get a kiss for like 2 or 3 days because she did not like how I look without facial hair. She was like, no, I'm not. She was like, no, you. She was like, you tell Annie she needs to get herself together.
You tell Annie.
Yeah, she was like, you tell Annie she needs to get herself together.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
And I was like, okay. I was like, look, she said she apologizes. She said sorry. But my wife, champions, she was not. That was not a fun day.
She ripped the new one in me. I mean, I didn't hear her, but just the tone in Sugar's voice. He said, Annie, my wife is not happy. And that was it. I said, oh man. Literally, we were like within what, a point? I think it was.
Yeah.
A point from Sugarrath and Body G
moving on,
going into the next level. God, I felt horrible. I thought, oh my God, I wanted to throw in the towel right then. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. But it was amazing. But let me just tell you, thank you. This experience and being backstage with Sugarrath, Tenepin, Body G, and Bad Wabbit. I mean, if you've never been, let me just kind of paint a picture. You're in this virtual room with everybody, like 16 contestants.
Right.
And then you eventually go into your own teammate or team room, right? And then, but the fact that, you start off talking 16 people, and then at any given time, it's like, shoot, they push you, they pluck you and put you into another room, and you're talking to like just you guys, like, oh, hello, my name is. You just feel kind of, hello, my name is. Yeah. Right. So, and then they pluck you back out and they put you in a team. So literally, it was like you're kind of at their mercy. Like, where are they going to throw me in now? But it was just amazing to have Sugarrath as my teammate. He and Tenepe were the level-headed ones. They were the ones that kind of said, in so many words, shut the hell up. And I said, okay. But they got me through just their expertise and the fact that Sugarrath had already been there before,
Mm.
just his calm, and just how he is. Look at how he is. He's so calm. He's dapper. He's well put together, very collected, so everything about him. And was so happy to have you. So let me just say thank you
Oh,
very, very much.
oh,
And
it's
it
my
was
pleasure to be here.
wonderful.
Yeah, I was just saying, if I was there to do it, what Felicity and like in TC and
Mm-hmm.
Arctic, Mike, all of those beautiful folks who on the organization level, what they did with that competition was really capitalize and help to grow so many folks and like
Mm-hmm.
outside themselves. And the thing is, I will say this, and this is no disrespect towards any other partnered streamer, but I don't quite recall a partnered streamer that has done so much for so many other streamers
True.
to that level. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's
Mm-hmm.
one thing to raid and it's one thing to host, and that's cool. That's super
Mm-hmm.
awesome. But it's a completely separate thing to not necessarily need that exposure and to help expose others. Like that is just like that's just what I'm all about. Like you're
Right.
uplifting people, you're helping them, you're gonna help them grow and
Right.
providing a wonderful, just a whole bunch of great slew of content. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
so for me, things like that competition and though that's kind of above and beyond for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
I'm
kind
just
of
going to
above
go through a couple little slides. So if you
sure,
want to
sure,
chime in a little bit on
I
some
sure,
of these
I sure
before we get,
most.
let me just put it out there to chat. Everybody, if you guys have any questions, please let me know in chat. I'm going to see some of my mods can kind of wrangle some of those questions for us. And we'll take a few because we're kind of limited on time now, but just
Yeah,
take a few. And if
go
there's any
through some of the
questions that you
images.
guys have. Yeah.
Okay. So I will tell you. So the image that was myself
Mm-hmm.
and a young man sitting down at the table, we were playing a card game that I did for my senior thesis.
Oh, let me
And
go
it
pull
was
it up.
called the Transcender. And
Okay. This one
also, and
here.
then what you see in the background there behind us is the exhibition. So you have to exhibit the work at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you beautiful champions will actually recognize the one on the right hand side, which is the lit emote. That is now my lit emote.
Which
Uh,
one is it?
it's the one. It's the one on the right. So I'll put it in chat right now.
Oh, okay.
So it's there. So that is
Oh,
that
there you
right there.
go.
Yeah, you gotta.
Nice.
Hey, one thing one of my art professors told me. They said, you know what? Her name is Ginger Sheridan, and she was for photography. And she said, "Hey, look, I'm a firm believer that if you do the work, you should maximize it and let it work for you as many times as you can."
Hmm.
So I'll say that. Um, the other ones you showed with the bridge, that was downtown fireworks, 4th of July in
Okay, this one
Jacksonville.
here.
Yep, it's all lit up.
Okay,
That's the one. The two
awesome.
young ladies that were by my sides are my sisters.
Okay, let me go find that. I
Sure,
have this all queued up, you guys, I promise.
you're good. No, no worries. No worries.
Okay, hold on. The one with the
Light.
two sisters. Here we go. There we go. Very beautiful family.
Oh, thank you. So the light skinned, the lighter right there in the middle of us, that is my sister Elena.
Mm-hmm.
And then right there with the glasses, to her immediate right, your left, um, is my sister Brandy.
Ooh, very
And
nice.
then the two gentlemen that you showed that graduation picture, those
Mm-hmm.
two fine folks are that is my father
Oh,
and my
hi, Dad.
yes. So that is the real Papa Sugar right there. my Papa Sugar.
Yeah.
And hello, folks. I see you doing it. Hello, Dean. Hello, everyone. I see you, champions. And that is my brother, Cameron.
Oh, very
So
nice.
that was his graduation from
And
high
this is
school.
recently? Oh, very
Yeah,
nice.
2 years ago, maybe. Is it
Uh-huh.
a year ago or 2 years ago? I want to say a year ago. A year ago sounds right. Well, I think it's a year ago. No, 2 years ago, actually. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Very
Pretty sure it
cool.
was 2 years ago.
And
Yep.
there's a few more. Oops, sorry. There was a few more other pictures that I didn't get to bring into chat, but
That's okay.
a few in or not chat, but into this slideshow. So let's turn to chat right now. It looks like we've got a couple questions. I think there's a question from Go Eat Rice.
Okay.
She's asking, are any pieces he's especially particularly proud of, referring to your art?
Yes. I would say the image of or the illustration that I did of Ryu Hayabusa, which is the one
Okay.
that's in the frame.
The one in the frame. Okay, hold on.
Mhm.
So, do I have that picture?
I'm pretty sure I sent that to you. I believe,
Oh, you
but it's
probably did.
it's okay. It's on. It might be on it might be on the
It's not this one, right? Oh, it might be in the Discord. Yeah.
it might be on the slew of discords.
Oh,
It's
which one
that's
did
not
you
that
say?
one.
The.
It's in a frame. Let me see if I can see it real quick here in our history.
Sorry, guys. The
No, you're good.
one in the frame.
It
Leave it to me.
no, no, you didn't do it. Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I did not send that one to you.
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay.
Okay, not a big
So
deal.
there is one that you're particularly proud of, but we just don't have it right now.
Correct.
So maybe
But it's go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say so that was a that was the image that really made me feel like I had emerged as an artist.
Oh, okay.
So Ryu Hayabusa is from the series Ninja Gaiden, and originally on the NES and all that, and then they re-released it for Xbox and all that good stuff later. And I looked at it and I was like, "Ooh, this is just a great image." And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna work on this." It was a illustration that I did of him that took me legitimately 24 hours.
Ooh, wow.
So I was like day in, day out in the cave getting that thing done. Now, of course, mind you, this was me just learning the programs.
Mm-hmm.
But because I spent so much time in that program, I learned who I was. I learned how I deal and handle art, tackle bigger projects. Whereas today,
Wow.
if I would have did
Mm-hmm.
that same illustration today, it probably would have taken me like 6 or 8.
Yeah.
Less, a quarter of the time to make that happen.
So it was a discovery of sorts. Was it therapeutic? Would you say it was therapeutic, or would you
Oh,
say?
absolutely. I put
Yeah.
on, I always put some music on
Ah.
and just kind of jam out. And it was so fun.
Oh,
That the
very
self
cool.
portrait I also really like. It
Mm-hmm.
was the first time I'd ever drawn myself. I never did a self portrait prior to that. That
So
one,
did you send me the self-portrait one?
yep, that's in
Okay.
Discord. It's like
Hold on, guys.
one of the later ones.
Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. And then I just have a quick comment from Guam Nam Nam, who
Yes.
says that you created his emotes.
Yes, yep, we did emote. Yep, did his emotes and his sub badges. It was pretty
Very
neat.
cool.
He has the Guami bears. He called them
Oh,
affectionately.
that's right. I
Yes,
remember those.
it was super cool.
And then we have another question. Let's see. From,
Looks like
I'm not
Mr.
sure who the
Radisson.
question is from. Says, did you have any formal art schooling or self-taught?
Oh, I did. As far as art, yes, that was what my degree was in. My degree is in graphic design. So, um, yeah, so yes, I did have formal visual
Oh,
arts
right.
training.
Your BFA, right?
Correct. My BFA in graphic design. That's my art training. Now I did do art prior to college, but it was more just drawing stuff. Like I had this phase where two I would say two major phases. When I was younger, I was drawing a lot of Looney Tunes. I drew like Wile E. Coyote, I drew Bugs Bunny, I drew some
Love
Tim.
those.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. I think they were pretty good. Um,
Okay, here's
for
this picture.
those that I was drawing then. And then when I was in high school, I went through another phase where I started. making this portfolio, and I was drawing things like I drew like medieval, I drew some Dragon Ball Z stuff, um, mostly video game characters. I drew some stuff
Mm-hmm.
of Ryu. I did some scratch boards. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so there's the self portrait, and I see, yeah, those are the Guami bears there
In the
in the
chat.
chat. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh
That was
my gosh,
funny.
so cute.
But yeah, that one right there, I would say probably the hardest technical drawing. So it was an interesting deal because obviously I'm a black guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask my teacher. I was like, "Hey, how do I handle my skin complexion? Because obviously, if I just kind of start to draw and draw it in,
Mm-hmm.
the features won't really represent themselves properly. So I learned a new, not I wouldn't say new to me. I would say a new technique or a way to deal with it. And so what I did was I actually started and colored in a base
Mm-hmm.
of gray.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
essentially went in, I drew all the features, and I kind of erased, so to speak, or blended and slash took away the areas of light, that would be highlighting my face.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I learned something new in dealing with graphite for my hair to actually represent more of a texture
Mm-hmm.
for my hair.
Ah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Everything else pretty standard, just
Right.
drawing it as is. But when it came to my skin tone specifically, that was where, just adding in color wouldn't necessarily have the same effect as having a base layer working on top of it and then sort of subtracting away where you need it to.
Got it.
And it turned out really well.
It did. I love that. So nice.
Yes.
I think we have one more question in chat, and
Okay.
this one is from Evie. Looks like, um, where did you learn to sing, or where did you learn to sing? Your background, how big a part of how big a part of his life, your life, is
Yes.
singing? There you go.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's a great question. That I did not have formal training in. I really just I sing by ear,
Okay,
quite honestly. I
nothing wrong
sing
with
by
that.
ear, and I would just have honestly, I'm really just blessed
Yeah,
because, like I said, I
sing
had
from
no
the
formal
heart,
training.
sing from the soul. Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Like I listen to it, I hear what I sound like. I would say recently, I was in the choir growing up. I'm in the choir now.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, I would say I've learned to develop more of how Brandon Sugar sounds and what I would like my voice to do
Mm-hmm.
versus just imitating what the person is doing.
Got it.
You know,
Very true. Very
so
true.
there's I guess like for just a quick example, so obviously like I'm not Alicia Keys, right? I'm not a female, I don't have a female voice. I don't so I can either go, some people live. So I can do that, which is fine, and there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that. Or I can take advantage of my lower register and I can say, some people live for the fortune.
Hello.
So once I realized like, hey, there's a difference between imitation and
Right.
singing. And once
Right.
I kind of got in there and figured that out, and also taking advantage of that, my voice is lower and it actually can sound nice. And especially when contrasted with like Annie's voice. So, like, I love doing duets with Annie because she's higher register, right? It's female. And then when we come together and blend, and I don't change and I'm not imitating the singer, I'm just
Right.
singing as Brandon Sugar. I love it. So that's where it's played into my life. I love doing
Oh,
karaoke, so Twitch Sings was like perfect for me um in that regard. I did see Annie, I don't if it's okay with you. I did see a
yeah.
question pop in that
Yeah.
Princess Emmy, but the homie, asked about how I met Mama Suge.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I was going to ask you.
okay.
That's a great question.
Okay.
Thank
Cool.
you guys. Thanks, chat.
Yeah,
Thanks,
appreciate
Emmy.
y'all for asking. So yeah, Amy is one of the beautiful warriors over from the community. She's been
Yeah.
rocking with us for a while now. So how I met Mama Suge. So I'm gonna give you my version, right? Here's what I remember. It's a little bit different for her, and I'll tell you what the difference is. So my version of this story is I'm out, I'm at karaoke, I'm chilling, doing whatever. I saw her a time or two before that. She used to get up there and sing.
Uh-huh. You're already eyeing her.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I saw her after she got finished singing this, or after I got finished singing my song. I saw her chilling at the karaoke place. Um, I was like, you know what? And every after, so like at a certain point in the night, they play like dance music, so on and so forth, for a little bit. Then they go back to karaoke. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask Melissa to dance. So, champion, here's the thing. I and especially at this part of my life. So we met. We'll have been married for 5 years come October.
Oh, very
And
nice. Or happy early anniversary.
well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And tell me, is Ed, when you're like 18 and or I would say like 24 and below, your relationships are kind of like, hey, we get together, we break up, we get together, kind of thing. We're
Mm.
figuring, and that's fine. That's kind of because everybody's kind of figuring things out. Once you start hitting about that 25 mark, your relationship's a little more like, hey, are we gonna do this thing or are we not? And the sooner you can figure that out, the better, right? Um, so in terms of like games being played and blah blah blah, no, no, no. I don't have time for all that. It's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward, pretty simple for me. If I think your young lady is attractive, I'm gonna go speak to her. I'm gonna ask her whatever it is. Hey, I've even been as blunt to say is, hey, I do believe that you're attractive. I like to see if you're as beautiful on the inside as you're on
There
the
you go.
outside. Would you like to go hang out? Would you
There
like
you
to eat
go.
dinner? Would you like to take a walk on the beach? Something, whatever it is. Um, so anyhow, karaoke. I see Melissa standing there, and I'm like, I'm gonna go ask her to dance. I walk up to her. I take her hand. I say, "Hello, hey Melissa, would you like to dance?" She said yes. Grab her hand. I'm off to the dance floor. We dance. We talk. I get her number. I had to be persistent and getting that first date because she was like, "Hey, my work schedule is this," or she was like, and she even told me she was like, "I was not." She was like, "If you had not been as persistent as you were, we would not have had the first date because I was trying to think of anything." And just because there was some
Right.
things from the past where she was like, "Man, I'm not, not necessarily trying to jump into it." She even told herself like, "Not happening with a marriage again, like it won't happen." So, but I said, "Hey." And whatever it was, I just understood because I know life happens. I just said, okay, how
Right.
about this time? If not that time, how about
Right.
this? How
Right.
about that? Whatever.
Persistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Got it.
absolutely.
Got it.
Um, and here we are married today. So the
Awesome.
differential, thank you very much. I'm sorry. So the differential in our stories is that apparently
Uh-oh.
Mama Shug, Mama Shug says that she was on a date that night and that close to her in whatever proximity was a guy, the guy that she was on the
Mm-hmm.
date with.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came to ask her to dance, I guess she felt like the guy didn't say anything, so she just danced with me,
There you go.
and here we are now. But I have no recollection, and my memory is pretty good. Like I remember
Yeah.
what she was wearing, I remember
Ooh.
where she was standing at the corner of the bar, I remember all of that stuff. I do not recall a person within like two bar stools of her, but apparently I wrecked this man's date.
It's a good
Or I don't even
thing.
know the results of the date, honestly, because after I finished dancing and got her number and all of that stuff, I kind of went back to where I was sitting. But I have no recollection of this dude or who he is
Right.
or anything. Now I did see him once, and my wife was like, "Hey, you see that guy right there?"
That was
I
it.
was like, "Yeah." She was like, "That's the guy I was on a date with," and I was like, "Well, too bad for him. He should have, he should have did this thing, right? Like he should have took you on the dance
He
floor, or
should
he
have
should have
been the
been like,
man.
hey, fam, we're on a date,
Yeah.
something."
Yeah.
But if you didn't say
That's
nothing,
so funny. You got this. You got chat all hype here. They're like home wrecker.
yeah, right, right.
Oh my god, you guys.
No,
Ah, that's so nice. Well, okay. So,
what's
where
up?
do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And parting words.
Sure. Okay, 5 years from now. So it's funny that you asked that because I don't know if you've heard the book Now Discover Your Strengths.
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, the long story short of that is it's a book. It's a great book. I recommend it for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the premise of it is that if you operate in areas of strength, then you will do significantly better when you operate in areas that you don't. So if you can incorporate
Right.
those strengths into anything that you're doing, then the outcome and the result will be a lot better. And that
Mm-hmm.
there's a way that you see the world, that's okay. And there's another way that other people see the world, and that's okay too. And the more
Right.
you understand about that and the others, the better off you'll be,
Right.
is the premise. So within that, they give you you take this test at a certain point in the book. It's like after you've read a few chapters, they stop you and say, okay, go ahead and take the strength test, and then you get to read on it. So I had there's a fourth one that I just can't remember, but consistency, harmony, relator, whatever that fourth one was,
Mm-hmm.
and futuristic are my five strengths, my top five strengths.
Mm-hmm.
They do matter in order of precedence. So like my consistency is my strongest one, so to speak, so on and so forth. Well, futuristic is one. So you remember when you asked that kid, like, hey, what you gonna do in 10 years? I was the kid that was like, ooh, I'm gonna have this with this many cars, so on and so forth. Because futuristic is that looking
Yeah.
forward, seeing over the horizon. So in 5 years, I'm a partner streamer.
Very cool.
Probably before 5 years, like that's a goal that I'm working on and setting for
Mm-hmm.
myself. But in 5 years, I'm partnered for sure. Um, I am opening a branch and branches of business that's targeted towards college students to have them work at Sugar Unlimited to help them gain real world experience and work with clients to help
Love that.
combat that sort of starving artist thing. They
Sure.
already have a portfolio. I'm going to be promoting them, and that's a part of a minor plan that later down the road, and I'm talking about 20 to 30 years out, where I'm going to build an actual community, like a housing community that is targeted toward helping the homeless.
Oh,
And it
very
would be that,
nice.
so they'll be fed all of that stuff. But it would be like actual homes, right? And like, so I guess you can almost think of almost like an apartment type of
Mm-hmm.
situation
Mm-hmm.
where, but they would help to maintain the grounds.
Right.
They would help maintain the ground. So like they're cooking the meals, so on and so forth. But I would have people in place to give them and help them with those life skills to help get them out and back on their feet. And so, but
Oh.
like so 5 years partnered, having the first building open, because so I work from home currently. So
Mm-hmm.
having Sugar Unlimited's first building open here in Jacksonville and helping those college students get that experience so they
Right.
can move on and with good portfolios, good resumes, and get hired and not have to go through all of the where we're going to work now
Right.
type of deal. So
Awesome.
those are my 5 year
Oh,
action
I
right
love that. I love that.
there.
He's got already mapped out. He's pretty intentional, right? Intentional thinking,
Yes.
visualization, and forward goal setting. I love all that. Things that I'm currently trying to work on myself as well. So we should all garner some information from our lovely Mr. Shagrath. And then parting words for our listeners. What would you like to instill? This is your moment, everybody, to
Sure.
get words of wisdom from Shagrath.
All right. So for parting one, I will give you a quote that I developed while I was in school, and it helped through my military training. Is that be technically sound so that you can be tactically brilliant.
Ooh,
And that
yes.
means the technical part is what you need to know. So if you're going to build a table, then you need to figure out what's all involved in building a table, right? Know how to work with the wood, know the tools that you need, learn those things, learn that base.
Mm-hmm.
And then the technically brilliant is how you employ or how you deploy, employ, implore, whatever the skills that you have now acquired. So once you
Mm-hmm.
know how to build a table, you can go out there and build yourself this amazing table because you have the standards and the basics to do so. And now
Mm-hmm.
you can get creative. Now you can
Right.
put that out there in the best way possible. So that those are the words that I live by. And then other than that, I would just say continue to love yourself, because as you gain skills, you're going to do some amazing things. So something I don't talk about often is that, like, I went to NCUR, which is National Collegiate Undergraduate Research. It's a big deal. You go amongst many of other
Mm-hmm.
college folks, and you have to be accepted, and they don't take everybody. And even at the
Mm-hmm.
time, I didn't know how big a deal it was until I got in, and I was like, oh, they are super selective about this.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. In that regard, I've been featured in the Huffington Post as
Oh,
well. I've been featured in quite a
nice.
few. My work's been featured on Sports Illustrated. Like, you guys, y'all can do this. Guys and gals, y'all can do this, champions. So love yourself, treat others amazing, treat yourself amazing, and just keep on seeing the best in one another, because the only way that we can combat the crazy and the negative stuff that's in this world is by being positive influencers and reinforcers for one another.
Oh, I love that. So you guys use your platform for positivity and get the technical training, the education that you need to be able to go change the world, basically. One more real quick question. I
Yeah,
know
of
we kind of
course.
switched wheelhouses here a little bit, but let's answer Go Eat Rice's question,
Okay.
which is, oh gosh, I just lost it. Why is addressing homelessness speak to you?
Primarily because I just don't think we have a great system in combating it.
Yeah,
A-
very true.
And it's one of those, and I'm not saying people aren't trying. That's so don't get me wrong. I certainly appreciate the efforts that are being made. But I think that the only true way to help that situation is to place them in in a scenario in which they can get on their feet. Like, let's just say there's a home. Let's just say even that that there was a homeless person with a shelter that had every day they were guaranteed they were going to get in, because there's no guarantee currently. But let's just say, for
Right.
example, there was a homeless shelter for every homeless person, right? Every day they would eat, so on and so forth. What is that? How is that helping them to not be homeless?
Right. That's
It's not
true.
preventing them from being homeless. It's just housing them, really. Uh, Whereas if you give them, and then, but the other part of that is, right, like, how are you going to give them skills slash skill sets that they can utilize, or give them a spot to work from? So it'd be different if while they were at this shelter, like, let's just say they were guaranteed, if they were at the shelter, if they had a job. But how are
Mm-hmm.
they going to get a job without the paperwork and all that? Because most likely, if they're
Right.
homeless, where are they going to keep that stuff anyway? So doing those types of things, helping them get there if they don't have it, help them get their social security cards and
Mm-hmm.
identification in place, and so on and so forth. But that's why it's important, because it's like I said, I don't feel like we have a system that's helping to combat it completely just
Mm-hmm.
yet.
Mm-hmm.
And how are these folks going to get ahead? Like,
That's true.
if they don't get the skill sets, I just feel like it's not a fair shake. And
Mm-hmm.
despite what a lot of people may see sometimes, a lot of those folks used to do super well in life. They did
Yeah.
super great in life. And then, one market crash later, or one bankruptcy charge later, or one divorce, or whatever it might have been, took
Right.
them out of it. Oh, I lost
It's
this, or
true.
I lost that, or some change. And it just sucks, because all of those
Doesn't
people
it?
have a
Yeah.
story. Every
It's
single
just
one of them.
it's just one turn of events that just kind of catapulted them into that situation. And I get that. It's not because they're not capable. It's just because at that given point in time, they just don't have the means
Right.
to thrive or to do what they need to do. I totally understand that. I appreciate my time, and I think chat agrees that this has been a wonderful time to get to know you, Brandon, and to learn about you and have fun with you. And we see you in streams, and it's so quick when we sing the songs, and sometimes we're in and out. I feel
Right.
like it's a commuter stream. Everybody goes
Mm.
in, sings, and then leaves, kind of thing. So you don't really get the opportunity to get to know, dig down deep, and get to know the person. And And if I can bring that little small piece, that little glimpse of that to all of you, this is my purpose, I think. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you all in chat. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your support. If we haven't already shouted out Sugar Roth's info, please do that right now. Mods, please. And Brandon, I had such a wonderful, wonderful time. I already got to know you the little bit that we did back in backstage in Dare to Duet, but
Right.
this was far more exciting and entertaining, and just the wealth of information. And again, thank you so much for your service and for all that you do and all that you're doing for the community, in the Twitch community,
Mm.
and externally in your own community, your home community, and wanting the love that you have in your heart, and wanting to basically share that and to empower others and build a better community, a better world.
Oh,
I am so appreciative of that.
oh,
Thank you so
absolutely. It's
much.
my pleasure. I had a wonderful time here. And champions, if y'all want to connect with me, please feel free to do so. Instagram and Twitter are the absolute same. It's just Sugar Off 8. You can connect with me there. I love it. If you'd like to check out my stuff, you can just check out sugarunlimitedinc.com. Easy, easy
Well,
peasy.
yay. Thank you guys. Thanks
But
so much,
thank
everybody.
you. You
Appreciate
beautiful
it.
champion.
What a beautiful day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, chat.
Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Loved
But
it.
we will see you soon.
Okay.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow, you guys. Tomorrow we will have Phileas Cheesesteak.
Woo, woo.
And he is a theater professional near and dear to my heart. So I'm super
Oh
excited for
man.
that. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. You guys, I love you all. Sugar Roth, Brandon, I love you so I love you so much.
I love you
Love
as
you
well,
all.
Annie.
Love you, fam. Love you,
Hmm.
champions.
Yes, champion. That's right. Get it in your life. Woo!
Take care. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Talk to you all soon. Bye. Thanks. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Evie. Thanks, Russ. Thanks, Jean. And oh my goodness, you guys just know I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye now.